Okay guys, I got a bonus update for you. One of the hotly requested features I've been getting is to discuss Shopify sales. So how to do the accounting for Shopify sales. That's going to be the subject of this video. One, I guess, macro trend I've been noticing this year is that more and more Amazon sellers are trying to go multi-channel. And one of the biggest ways, if not the biggest way to do that, is through a Shopify store. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about the challenges behind that and how people have tried to solve it and how I specifically solve it. So here's the accounting problem. So this really applies to any channel that you may end up going off to. So I guess in the beginning of this video, I want to maybe more teach you how to fish rather than just hand the solution straight to you. So here's the challenge is when you make a sale, more than likely you not only have the sales amount, but if you collect shipping, that's thrown in when you make a sale. If you collect sales tax, that's thrown in. And if there's any refunds that get taken out, also there's fees that get taken out. So what happens is there's 5 different types of financial data in any one sale, and what Shopify does is, and like most merchant processor, it takes the net amount of all of these different pieces of information and it deposits them to your bank. So, Shopify, for example, if you use Shopify payments, they'll take the 10 transactions you had yesterday, will add up the sales, add up the shipping, add up the tax, take out any refunds you had yesterday, and take out any merchant fees, and it'll deposit the net amount into your bank account. Obviously, the challenge then becomes, how do you account for that? How do you unravel all those different pieces of information from the net deposit? One way that software that I've noticed over the last couple of years, how they try to solve this problem and just create a whole new problem by the way they solve it. So what they do is, for every sale that's made in Shopify, this software, there's a lot of different solutions like this, but even the official Shopify integration that came out recently works this way. It brings over one invoice for every single sale. And so it'll bring over, the sale of your product plus any taxes, any shipping, etc. And it tries to create a single invoice for every sale and pay it off. And what happens is it creates a huge mess. You can obviously see, as when you only have a couple of sales a day, that's no big deal. But, as you start to scale and get 100, 200, 500 sales a day, especially during fourth quarter, just creates this huge mess. And also there's just no clarity. If something doesn't balance, you have no clue where the issue is. Like if some of your numbers don't seem right, what are you going to go back through 1,000 orders and check one by one what the deal is? And so it just creates this huge mess, no clarity. And so I've developed kind of a manual workaround. Some of the people I'm in contact with, they are discussing with different integrators how to make these integrations better, but for the time being, this is really the cleanest process I've found. And honestly, it's not that time consuming. It takes me about 15 minutes or so every month to do this for my clients. So what I've noticed, most processors, or not really processors, but most clients that I've encountered, they generally use PayPal as a card processor, and they generally use either Shopify payments or Stripe payments. So I'm going to knock out both of these at once. So PayPal, how we're going to solve this is, whenever you get payouts from PayPal, all we're going to do is simply create a bankroll to categorize all the deposits as sales. And I'll show this for you. So here we are in Xero in a PayPal account, and I've imported some statement lines, and this will look pretty common. So a person's name, and then it'll say Mobile Express checkout, and then it will show received of $29.95. And the nice thing about PayPal is it at least gives you the gross amount of income, and it processes refunds and fees separately. So that solves a couple of the issues. So what I'm proposing you do is go ahead and create a rule for these sales that you make, this receive money, and this is kind of what the rule will look like. Generally, I put when the description contains payment received, because what happens is there's mobile express checkout payments received. I've also seen just express checkout payments received. So maybe checkout payment received or payment received, something along those lines, and then set the contact to be Shopify customer. I really don't recommend you set the contact to be the payee. So, in this case, Josh Tipple, I wouldn't recommend creating a new contact for every customer. That information doesn't really need to be in Xero. You can find that in Shopify. Honestly, it's just going to slow up Xero, and your contacts are going to get bloated with every single customer. So I would just say, miscellaneous customer, Shopify customer, something like that. And then allocate all of the sales to Shopify Sales, or sales to whatever your account is called. Yeah, and then just label the rule Shopify Sales. So that's kind of what the rule will look like. When it's working correctly, you should see all received money has a rule that applies to it. And so that's the first step is let's create a bankroll to categorize all your deposits as sales in PayPal. And now the next step is whenever you get Shopify payments or Stripe payments and they hit your bank account, instead of categorizing them all to sales like in PayPal, what I want you to do is create a bankroll to categorize all these deposits to a clearing account. So what you'll notice in your chart of accounts is there are a couple accounts. You should see clearing account 1 and clearing account 2. I really named clearing account 1 to be Shopify Payments Clearing. And what you do is when these transfers hit your bank account, create a rule that will capture it, maybe something kind of like this. When any text field contains Shopify and it's a receive money, then let's rename this to Shopify. We'll allocate it to Shopify Payments Clearing, and we'll give it a title. And so what will happen is all of your payments will get sent to this clearing account. And the big idea behind a clearing account is it's just a place for data to meet up. So what I'm going to do is send all these deposits to a clearing account, and then every month we're going to create one invoice to record all of your sales, shipping, taxes, refunds, fees, and then we're going to pay off that invoice to the Shopify clearing account. So in theory, this one invoice should match all of the deposits you get from Shopify, and what happens is they'll all meet in this clearing account and it should level out to zero. So what this does is it creates a lot more clarity, right? Because if that clearing account doesn't go down to zero each month, well then obviously something didn't go right. Maybe you had a payment that didn't hit your bank account, or maybe you calculated your invoice wrong. So what I'm going to show you in the remainder of the video is, well, how do we create this one invoice? Setting up these rules easy. How do we do this one invoice? And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So what we're going to do is log into Shopify. You're going to come to the home page, and what I want you to notice on the home page, down along the right hand side, you're going to see something called a payout schedule. I want you to click View All Payouts, and it's going to show you a series of payouts. And let's say we want to filter for the month of February. We'd set a filter to where the payout date is after January 31st and before March 1st. And once you filter, you should see all of these payouts. They match days. There's a balance. What I want you to do is go ahead and export them. And when you do, it's going to look something kind of like this. So you'll see a spreadsheet where there's a series of payouts with dates, fees, etc. And what you're going to notice is a few columns. There's charges, refunds, adjustments, and fees, and a total. So as I mentioned to you in the PowerPoint, is part of the issue is sales, shipping, tax, refunds, and fees. Well, obviously we can see right here. Fees are separate. We have refunds are separate. So what this is under this charges section, we have sales, we have shipping, and tax. So what I want you to do is I want you to do the sum feature, and we're going to sum up each of these columns. And when you sum that up, I want to get you to do one little calculation. This adjustments is whenever you have a refund, they refund you some of the fees. So I want you to do a little formula that will say fees minus any adjustments. And what I'm going to do is get you to add all these up. So if we take gross charges plus the negative refunds minus the fees, when we do that, this amount should equal this amount. So whenever you do that little calculation, if they both match, you know that it's ready to make an invoice in zero. And so what I'm going to do is show you what the invoice in zero is going to look like. So I've created this little demo invoice, and so first of all I created a new invoice. I set the contact as Shopify. I set the date as the last day of February. And what I've done is I've created these 5 columns, right? These 5 sections. There's sales, shipping, taxes, refunds, fees. So what you'll notice here is right off the bat that fees match, refunds match, but what you'll notice is sales, shipping, and taxes, those don't necessarily match. And I'll show you where I get that. So if this number includes sales, shipping, and taxes, what we're going to do is go into Shopify. We're going to go into the reporting, and we're going to run this reports sales by month. And what you'll notice over under total sales, if you click this little define button, what you're going to see is you can define sales with shipping or without shipping, with tax or without tax. So what I've done is I've actually manually done this in the background, but what I did was I took February sales, which is 57.54.64, and what I've done is I've made sure to take out shipping, and I just calculate the difference. So with shipping it was 57.54, without shipping it's 56.12, so that tells me well, I must only have $142 of shipping income. And actually what you can do is with these invoices, they have built-in calculators in these unit price fields. So just plug in and it'll calculate it for you. And I've done the exact same thing with taxes. So right now, February sales show 56.12, and that's with taxes. I'll uncheck taxes, and the total after that is 54.73. So 56.12 minus 54.73 comes out to $139. So Shopify makes it fairly simple for you to figure out, well, how much shipping income did I have last month? How much taxes did I have last month? And then all you have to do is, if I pull up that spreadsheet once more, what you'll notice is I've taken 35.86 and then I've decreased the total by shipping and taxes, and that will bring a total amount. And so what this does here is I've now successfully broken up sales, shipping, taxes, refunds, fees, and what you notice is the bottom of this invoice comes out to $34.46.58, and when I look at all the payouts for the month of February, the total comes out to $34.46.58. So what I've done is I've successfully taken all of these payouts in just a couple of minutes, and I've broken them up by sales, shipping, taxes, refunds, and fees. And a quick note here is sales goes to whatever sales account you're using for Shopify, shipping goes to shipping income, taxes goes to sales tax liability, refunds goes to the returns account, and fees goes to merchant account fees. So once you've double checked all these numbers, it matches the spreadsheet, we'll hit approve. And the final step that we're going to be doing is we're going to take this invoice, and on the last day of the month that we made the invoice for, so February 28th, and we're going to pay it off to this Shopify payments clearing account. And what I like to do is in the reference, I might put February payouts, and I'll click this add payments. And once you do that, go over to the Shopify payments clearing account by going to reports, account transactions. And once we're in this account transactions, I'll run the report for Shopify payments clearing. I'll change the date to the 1st of February to the 28th. And what you'll see here on this report, you'll see all these credits from the deposits that hit your bank account. Sometimes you might have to show more items at the bottom. And when you show more items, here you'll see all of these credits from the deposits, and then you'll see that one deposit from the invoice. And the importance of running this little report is to make sure, does our clearing account zero out? And it does. So that means we've successfully taken all of these deposits in a very simple manner. We've broken them all out into sales, shipping, refunds, taxes, fees. We've got all that separated and clear in our books. And in just about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes the first go around, you'll account for all your Shopify sales. And this process works the exact same way whether you're doing Etsy, Winello, any other sales channel. Get your hands on the payouts, add up the fees, run some reports to split it out, and you'll be golden.